Greg, what prompted you to run for this position?
I decided to run for this position because I'm a Gering native. I graduated from Gering. My wife taught at the high school for 14 years, so I kind of can view it through two lenses, both the parent lens and the educator lens through talking to her and her friends. So I think I have a lot of valuable input. I do run two businesses in town, and so, running a small business, I'm the marketing department, I'm the advertising, or the accounting department, the decisions. I think I have a lot to lend to the board as far as professionalism and expertise. I also think that Gering Public Schools is a great place to go to school. I've seen multiple of my friends run their own businesses and be successful. I've seen multiple people go into the academies. I've seen multiple people go straight into careers and be successful. And I would like to see Gering Public Schools continue on that path of being a great place to not only learn, but learn how to learn. And I think I could lend both openness to the board. I think I have a skill to listen to varying viewpoints and then weigh my decision based on both what I've heard and what I believe equally. So I think I could be an asset to Gering and Gering Public Schools.
Thank you. Greg, what is your philosophy when it comes to parental involvement in the development of curricula and other issues affecting their child's education?
I think parental involvement is an interesting term. I think sometimes it gets misinterpreted as parental control or decision making. I think involvement is very important. I think that means that you're taking an active part in your child's education, which is essential, right? You know things about your child that maybe your teachers don't have a chance to get to know, and help them grow. Now, that doesn't mean that the board, if I'm on it, can work outside the box that is set for us in curricula. But I do think it's important to listen to the input of parents and then weigh whether that can fit inside of our box that we get to work in. I think parental involvement is important in everything. I teach CCD at my church, and as an active teacher in that, if it's not shown and demonstrated and valued at home, the faith doesn't continue. And I think the education of our kids is the exact same. You can complain up and down about your teachers, staff, administrators, and curricula all you want, but unless we're actually involved, which you said, I believe that's essential because that's where it's supported at home, it's modeled at home, and it's valued at home. And hopefully as a board member, I can bring that back to the schools also, that we value our education, not just in the classroom, but in life, because that's where it's going to serve us the best. So yes, I totally agree with parental involvement in schools.
Thank you. Greg, what other career pathways would you like to see developed?
Honestly, I don't have any in particular because I'm not completely versed in that. I would lean on Rick and his experience in the vocational area. But I will say that being in fireworks taught me to lean on professionals. I don't know how to set up the safest fireworks store when I got into it when I was 19 years old. So I leaned on the state fire marshal for recommendations. I leaned on inspections to get better, right? My inspections weren't always perfect, but I didn't view them as an attack on myself, but rather how I could better my business. And I think Gering Public Schools is a lot alike, where we have great administrators, both at the central office on down, where I can lean on their expertise and what they're seeing with the kids and what we need to add, and I would lean on them for that advice. I will also tell you that I'm a strong believer that public school teaches you how to learn. And it's impossible to cast this net over everything our kids should or will need to know. However, if we continue to teach them how to learn, not how to think or what to think, but how to learn, they can learn how to look it up, how to find it, how to find those resources or professionals that they need to lean on. So I would go more that direction, that we need to lean on our professionals and our kids' input, and that's where parental experience and advice can come into play also, to help us figure out what niche needs to be hit next.
Thank you. Gering Public Schools has partnered with Scottsbluff Schools in a number of areas, some extracurricular activities, like notably the swim team. How much farther should collaboration go, and would you ever consider an instance to consolidate the districts?
Yeah, I think collaboration is always a good thing because you can learn from other people or other experiences that you personally, either as a school district, as a family, or as an individual, haven't had a chance to experience. That being said, I also think there's a big value in having pride in your organization, whatever that may be, whether it be schools that we're talking about, whether it be an athletic team, whether it be your own family or your business, right? There's something to be said for school pride. And Be Blue and Gold is one of the hashtags I've seen around in the last 5 years. And I think it's important for kids to be able to identify with their school. I also listen to Tony Kornheiser on a podcast, and he always says the answer to all your questions is money, right? So to answer the follow-up of consolidation, no, I'm not in favor of it now. I don't have a crystal ball either to tell you what's going to happen down the road 4, 5, 6 years from now. So no, I am not in favor of consolidation at the moment, but we would have to look at all the circumstances that come down the road. And for me personally, as far as Gering Public Schools, I think we have a great thing going. I think we have a good pride in Gering schools, and I would like to see that grow and continue.
Thank you. The district has had to secure a line of credit with a local financial institution to protect district cash flows. What do you believe the district needs to do to stabilize funding, especially when state aid fluctuates year to year?
So I think in a business setting and a school setting, you're going to have ups and downs, and a line of credit, while not ideal, isn't necessarily an alarm that something is drastically wrong. We may have just had a tough year that we got by and now we're recouping. Now, I can't really speak to that because I haven't been in a lot of committees with the school board. But again, I would go back to leaning on the professionals and staying on budget. That's one thing I did learn both running a family and 2 small businesses is working within a budget. Would I rather have a bigger building to sell fireworks out of with better air conditioning? Absolutely. But if it's not in the budget, we got to put it off until next year. And I think I can bring that perspective to the school as well, where we can maximize what we're doing with the dollars that we have and then move on to the future fiscally responsible.
Greg, you're up next. What do you believe the board's stance should be when it comes to the proper age to begin sex education, and when should controversial subjects of gender identity and fluidity be introduced?
I think that's a difficult question that goes back to reaching out to parents and getting their feel. I also think it's something, like we said, with parental involvement, has to be integral in that. With the health standards, there's a lot of variables, but I do understand, if I'm correct, that it's on a local level, which gives me some encouragement that we will have some say-so in when and what gets implemented. I don't feel that it's really the school's position or responsibility to teach kids about sex or about gender identity. Just like we said before in other subjects, I don't think we should be teaching our kids how to think or what to think. I think we need to teach them how to think so they can figure it out on their own. And as a Catholic, that will definitely guide my decisions as a board member.
Greg, should the grading scale be that rigorous, or should it conform more closely to post-secondary grade scales?
This is a subject I would have to reach out to teachers and parents and get more input, because it's not a topic I have on my agenda when I talk to parents of my kids, friends at school and such. If the teachers get back to me and say that they think pushing our students harder benefits them and they see better results and more attentive nature in class, I think it's a benefit. I also would like to see some of the research or the numbers of if our students are missing out on scholarship opportunities, that could be a big factor. But if it's just so you have an A, I got a 4.0 in high school, Bill. You don't know if I did or not, right? Nobody knows what grade you got in high school once you get into your career path. I didn't get a 4.0, by the way. But that being said, I don't see a problem with having a more rigorous grading scale. I would have to have some knowledge of what the benefit is in the classroom and to the students, because I think ultimately that's what we're all up here for, is to benefit the student and to help the teachers teach. So if I heard that a rigorous grading scale benefits everybody, great, keep it. If we're missing dollars and people are missing opportunities to join college or to go into certain careers because of their grades, then I'll stand at a different point. But until I get that knowledge base built up, I can't comment one way or the other.
Thank you. Greg, if you're elected at the end of a 4-year term, how would you define success?
One of the main ways that I would define success would be to see kids still enthusiastic about learning and learning how to learn. I'm spoiled. I have 3 kids that are still in elementary school and think it's pretty cool to go to school. They love their teachers. We've been blessed with that as a district and as a school. But if that can trickle up to the high school, to the junior high, and stay at the elementary level also, That would be a success for me. I would also see the community organization or camaraderie grow, and that the community knows that I listened to them, and while I may not have agreed or they may not agree with everything I did, I at least listened to their concerns and then did what was best for the greatest number of kids. Because I think ultimately that's the job of a board member and as a school board as a whole, is to not appease everyone, because that's impossible, right, when you're serving a large community, but to do what is best for the greatest number of kids. That would be a success for me in the next 4 years.
Thank you. Okay, we will give each of you 1 minute for closing statements. Greg, 1 minute for a closing statement.
Yeah, thanks for this opportunity, by the way, to be in front and address some of these issues for the constituents. I'm running for Gering School Board because with 3 children currently enrolled in Gering schools, I have a vested interest in the success of our schools. As an owner of 2 businesses, I feel I offer a depth of knowledge that will help guide Gering Public Schools to achieve excellence in the years to come. Additionally, having my wife Jill in education for the last 16 years, 14 of those at the Gering High School, I have a unique advantage of viewing and understanding the school system through the lenses of both an educator and a parent. With your vote on May 10th, I can work together with other members of this board to help Gering Public Schools continue to live up to their slogan of having learners today and leaders tomorrow. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of our candidates running for Gering Public Schools Board of Education for participating in tonight's forum. Greg, Brian, John, Krista, Rick, Mike, Gloria, Brandon, Colleen, thank you all for being here. We hope you at home, this helps you in deciding who you wish to vote for. As a reminder, in the May 10th primary election, you'll be allowed to vote for 3 candidates. The top 6 vote getters in the primary election will advance to the November general election. This candidates forum is one of several being presented by the Government Affairs Committee of the Scottsbluff-Gering United Chamber of Commerce. We again would like to thank the Rural Radio Scottsbluff staff for recording this forum so you can view it, the timers, students from Gering Public Schools for volunteering, the Chamber staff, and the Gering Civic Center for hosting us this evening. On behalf of the Scottsbluff-Gering United Chamber of Commerce Government Affairs Committee, and for my co-chair Don Wolf, I'm Bill Boyer. Thank you for joining us, and remember, get out and vote.